Thursday 5-game slate. And, I just wanted to go over a couple things real quick. One, it was a little bit of a frustrating night last night because I felt like I got a lot of pieces right and avoided some mistakes. Like I didn't play Grimes in my big buy-ins. I did play Hart. I wish I would have played a little bit more DiVincenzo, but I did have – that was the way I was – the guys I used the most. Brunson, I left 400 on the table in some spots, and I played Brunson instead of Mitchell. You could argue that was a mistake, but Brunson didn't get the last 4 minutes of run I would have expected him to get, and he also had a 40% usage rate, so I have no problem. But it's frustrating, and what I think I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start approaching things a little bit differently, especially on those bigger slates. These smaller ones are a little different, especially when you have such obvious spots to attack, which we'll get into in a minute. But I want to start running more sims. I want to start, at least like 20 entering, scripting out 20 lineups. I just haven't had the kind of year that I've had in the past, and it's really been a frustrating go of it lately. And I need to start adjusting. I need to keep up with everything. I've done it a few times a little bit, but sort of passively and sort of just checked out what they said. But I really want to focus a little bit more on that, try to continue improving and get back on the winning track. Because for you guys, I want to be out there giving the right information. I'm happy in some cases I've been able to late swaps and suggest some right things, but I just haven't been the best of me lately winning for myself, but also I want to do a better job for you guys. So I'm going to try to be more flexible and try to get into some other stuff and maybe take a few more chances on that's one takeaway that I've had is maybe take a few more chances on spend ups that are lower owned versus taking chances on the cheap guys that are lower owned, which is something I've done for years. And I just feel like it's different these years now in the NBA with everybody over 9K having this monster ceiling that we don't really need to, like Luka last night went crazy again, but you don't necessarily, that doesn't mean it's always going to be the right play, even if he gets 75 or 80. So I just want to be more open-minded to maybe spending up on some different than the chalk spend ups. But there's a lot of things I have to do to review my process. I've gone through a lot of my mistakes recently. I went through all my lineups for the last month, and I could see little things that I was doing wrong, but even still, there's luck and everything like that. But I want to try to keep improving, and I'm open to any ideas Sheets has. I'm going to watch the Sims videos and just really try to expand my brain and play a little smaller until I get back on track. That's I guess my overall.
Well, I want to talk about DFS for in a second, but I would like to shout out that the big hit, or whatever, the easiest hit of them all from yesterday was Josh Hart over in the rebounds, which we talked about quite a bit, and Bobby gave that out almost like it was a lock, and to the point where we even bet the alt line. We gave an extra rebound, and it was over at halftime. So there's that. So I want to share two points about last night's DFS slate. First of all, is that in the 555, Quentin Grimes was in the winning lineup for openers.
Right. Yeah.
That's one thing. And then I want to share a lineup which is, legit my hero. Okay, this is my hero. I'm going to share the lineup. I want to share the winning lineup in the fadeaway. Okay? In the fadeaway from last night, the winner had one entry, and I confirmed that, and no Grizzlies.
Wow.
No Grizzlies, one lineup, held off all of these guys by 1 point. How amazing is that?
That's wild. That's pretty wild. That's pretty.
And one of the guys I had in one of my box outs, the Jaden Harvey at 0%, getting 10x.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting pivot play, but I never quite got there. I did think that the what's it called? The Caleb Martin was one. It just, that stuff just sometimes happens. You know what I mean? I really didn't want to play Caleb Martin there, but he's just going to occasionally have a game. But that is pretty wild. That is interesting, and it's interesting to think. Hey, look, there's different ways. It's not a big slate. I wouldn't have done the same thing, but it's that's pretty awesome. I can't believe
imagine this poor guy. He's in 150 lineups, and he's just got every freaking combination. He just can't freaking track down the no Memphis guys. How funny! Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, I love to see it. I'm very happy to see the non-parentheses win, as you say.
Yep.
But yeah, so trying to get some things sorted out. Looking forward to some golf this week as well. And we'll get into today's
and it's no cut golf this week as well.
I know. It's not quite as exciting for that reason to me, but I still am looking forward to it.
So here's a pretty cool tournament for tonight, by the way. To that old
they added it back.
Yeah, this single entry leaderboard thing.
They have them for each tier, the 222 and the 4-4 and the 5-5.
So I guess let's get into the first note is that it's a 7:30 start, so we'll go live I guess closer to 6:30.
Yep.
And interestingly, you have sort of an island game. You have an island game at 10 o'clock where you might have news, right?
Right.
You have like Embiid was out yesterday.
So was Maxey.
And Maxey as well. So as we've seen, Philadelphia not exactly very kind as far as the releasing of information. So anything can happen.
They did lose by like 30 last night in Portland, so they might be.
Did they really?
These guys bounce back tonight. Yeah, I mean it was just, and it's pretty wild that like nobody got there for the Sixers with Embiid and with. I mean, I guess Kelly Oubre got there kind of. He has 5,400. He got 33, but that was the most they had. Like literally, it was horrible. Like
I guess Portland heard you when you said we should have just canceled them off the slate, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's pretty wild. Let me just see what the Portland guys. I mean, it's just weird when you have those kind of guys out. It's so rare to see like not 4 or 5 guys getting there at least. But just a very very weird. I
think Drexler came back to play for Portland yesterday. I think it was
apparently Drexler and
Terry Porter.
And Terry Porter and Arvydas Sabonis. Why not? All right, so let's get into today's slate. So we already have like one thing that I thought was the most important piece of news and already nullified my early builds, which is that LeBron is officially probable. This is a spot where he almost sits 100% of the time in the past. Like it's a back-to-back. He played 37 minutes yesterday. On Saturday, it's a 3 and 4 nights. On Saturday, right? Yeah, it's a 3 and 4 nights. On Saturday, he played 46 minutes because of the overtimes, I believe it was. And they're desperate to win games. So this LeBron playing and announcing that he's probable to start the day is definitely was surprising to me. But they really need to win games. And maybe this is the one day Anthony Davis gets a rest, but we'll know that before lock. That was to me the biggest thing because I really thought the Lakers in Atlanta without LeBron, we could just stack the hell out of that thing, and it's probably the right thing to do because Atlanta just doesn't play defense.
Hey, can I tell you something else about last night's slate just for a second? It piggybacks off of something we discussed or I brought up yesterday, is that and somebody that's pretty sharp that you know pretty well online commented on this also. So I think Luka, they ran him out there for another like 700 minutes last night.
Yep.
And Wilson from online, he's pretty sharp. He was saying, what are they doing with him? You know what I mean? Like, it's like ridiculous. They have no chance, and they're just running him into the ground. The only explanation is they have like my comment was that they have like some percentage of their budget allocated to DFS play. You know what I mean? Like because they keep running him out here like a million minutes. It's freaking crazy.
I couldn't disagree more with the thing. Luka is not a guy who, first of all, he's playing injured anyway. They desperately need to win games because they know that they're not like this awesome team. Luka's also playing for an MVP award. There's a lot of things in there that and they needed every single bit of it from Luka last night. They were on the verge of getting smoked in that game. Another one of the winning bets was the +4.5 for Orlando. But just again, they really needed every second of it, and I think that you're just gonna see some stars doing that, and Luka's one of those guys that we just see play those crazy minutes. But I don't think there's a running into the ground thing this early in his career, especially with the way he plays and he plays at his own speed so much. It's not like he's like trying to keep up and he doesn't have to play defense really. So I don't know. We'll it's a good thing to note going forward, but that's part of the reason why we love Luka so much. Why we play him. He's going to play.
All right. So let's get into it. So Indiana, Boston, you do have the possible return. Look at all these Q tags.
I know it's crazy.
But you do have the possible. I would say probable. Yeah, he's going to play. I think Halliburton. I didn't have him. Did I have him projected as in? I don't know if I even had him projected as in. No, I didn't even have him projected as in. I guess. No, I did. I guess they had like a middling.
It's a little middling thing, right?
I mean, like a median projection for him is 43 doesn't exist.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. Agreed.
So we'll have to see. But if same thing, if all these guys are in, I'm probably off of this. But I mean, what else? I shouldn't say that. Tatum at 9,200 against the Pacers has to have upside. So I'll include him in the mix, considering you also have some value that you can play today. Yeah. So I guess him. You like? I don't know. Am I missing something? You like anything else in this game?
So now Horford, we just assume we know what's going to happen with Boston. So Horford's going to sit and Porzingis will play. That's just sort of what we've seen on back-to-backs the whole season. I like Porzingis. So I actually think that's I think Porzingis, Tatum, and Brown are all really good plays. Now, whether you get to them depends on who else sits and who else goes wherever. But I think all three of those guys have tremendous upside. I do worry a little bit about this game being at home for Boston and potentially not staying close. Indiana's because of the speed they play at, I know they're good at guarding the three. Partly I still have a hard time believing that, but also that was with Bruce Brett, a different lineup that they have now. Overall, though, I do think that getting to one of these Boston guys, I like Porzingis because I think he'll be low owned and he didn't play last night. It's just I'd rather the guys who are more rested and I do think that down low and he can bring any of the big guys they put on him outside. It just feels like a spot for Porzingis to have a decent game. So I like one of those three, but nobody who makes the priority list for me at first glance. Well, it really depends because I'm speculating on the Lakers sitting someone out. Tatum may be a priority by the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right, Lakers and Atlanta. Sheets, you want to start this one off?
Well, but like you said, I mean, do you even believe this? That he's going to play? I mean,
I do because they're desperate to win games, and that's pretty much the reasoning. I am totally confused by the Jared Vanderbilt projection and what's happening with that. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm assuming LeBron. I mean, if he's probable, I'm going to assume he plays. But I wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Davis did. I mean, the Lakers are 5-point underdogs, but that's probably accurate in Atlanta on a back-to-back. So it's hard to read into the Vegas lines. But
what do you have Vanderbilt projected? I don't have him that much.
It's not that it's 23, but like he's actually looking like he's going to be popular, and it's just kind of he has been trending in the right direction. I missed the game against Golden State, so I'm sorry, against Houston. I missed the box score or whatever happened. I don't know why he only played 4 minutes, so I have to double check that one. That was another winning bet. I had Houston last night to beat the Lakers, but I don't know what the deal is, why he only played 7 minutes after. He's been playing a ton of minutes because their defense is so bad, they kind of need him out there. Not so bad. Their defense outside of he and Davis is just very, very, let's call it average at best. I'd say it's worse than that. So I'm interested in like what they're going to keep doing with him. But yeah, if everything stays the same as it is right now, he's just a potential value. That's all I would.
Yeah, my values are just coming from other teams.
Yeah,
I don't really have much. I have Davis as a decent play. I have D'Angelo Russell as a decent play.
Oh, he got into a fight with Brooks. Okay. With Brooks. Oh, okay, that's what happened. That makes sense. Thank you, Power. I appreciate it. Because I was trying to figure it out. I totally missed that. I would have found that out like right after the show, but I appreciate it. Now I have to look. Sorry, Sheets. Go ahead.
What did you say?
Vanderbilt was ejected last night for fighting with Brooks. That doesn't shock me. So just throw away last night, and then you'll see why Vanderbilt looks good because the minutes have been pretty significant.
Yeah. So I mean, Davis looks fine. Russell looks fine. Aside from that, I'm not really getting too much. I'm getting nothing from Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know what to do because of the thing. I think Anthony Davis is probably the right answer. I know that he had kind of a down game yesterday, and Atlanta is actually decent on the boards, but I just like the idea at the pace, and his 9,600. I think he and Tatum would be pretty close, and I think LeBron the thing is when LeBron plays, he's going to play like 37 minutes. It's not like they're going to lower. They just don't do that. So. LeBron and AD, I think that you pick between two of them. I like the AD a little bit. I like D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. So I think you pick between those two. And then I do have Vanderbilt as a potential value that along with Taurean Prince for his former team at 3,700. So all those guys are on my list right now. I'm not sure where I'm going to end up yet, but have the whole day to figure that one out. And nothing that stands out on Atlanta. I will just say Okongwu is supposed to have lower ownership today, and he's 4,700. So I'm totally good if you want to play a Kongwu. He's probably my favorite Atlanta piece, but I'm not going to argue with Trey or DeJounte. DeJounte's warmed up this morning, so I'm assuming he plays. Anyway, we can move on to the other main thing everybody's going to do.
Well, they're going to go back to these Knicks again, but let's talk about this. So the top projected guy right now is Dante DiVincenzo, and I mean he played 42 minutes last night. Which that goes two ways, right? Number one, cool, he played 42 minutes last night. But I mean, at 60% ownership, I could say, wow, he played 42 minutes last night. You know what I mean? Like it depends on how you slant that.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to play him at 60% ownership, coming off his best day and 42 minutes on a back to back. I don't know. I know they don't have a lot of people, but I know Tibbs likes to play guys, but it seems a little ambitious to expect something like that again. So I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Josh Hart, 5,500. He played. What did he play? He played like 40 as well.
No, yeah, he played 39. Yeah, pretty close.
He played 40. And yeah, I mean he's probably gonna be really popular again. But like, I think it's weird. I think that his. I like him as well, but I would like to continue to have that rebounding upside. Like we capitalized on yesterday. And if OG Anunoby is out again, then I don't see any reason why he wouldn't dominate the boards again. If Anunoby is back, I would say that I like Anunoby because, I mean, the most rested of them all, coming back. And I think that he could be in line for 40, like if he comes back. Now he's more expensive. He's 6,800. But the easy play again is Jalen Brunson. He was fine. Whatever, 49. It was not like he busted, right? And he's got most of the offense for the team. So I like him a lot. And listen, the question of what do you play Quentin Grimes? He's going to be 3,600. It's going to be a thin bench, and he sucks. So I mean, so what do you do? I mean, he only played 32 minutes yesterday. And well, he was 3 for 11, 1 for 6 from 3. Would he have played more if he shot better? Maybe. But it's not like you're going to get an ownership discount on him. You know what I mean? It's not like, boy, he busted yesterday, so now no one's going to play him and he's going to troll. He's going to be 40% owned again. So. I think I'm sort of inclined to fade this one also. So maybe play the Brunson. I feel more comfortable with Hart. DiVincenzo obviously makes some sense, but I mean, I don't know. And then you have this Hartenstein Precious thing. They did end up starting Precious, and he was, not that great. He had 4 fouls.
They started both of them, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah. But he ended up starting Precious. He had only 33 minutes, but 33 minutes, I suppose. 5 rebounds. I mean, I don't know. Hardenstein is one who had all the rebounds. No, even he only had 4 rebounds.
No, it's Josh Hart. I'm telling you, it's Josh Hart to lead the Knicks in rebounds is like
just Josh Hart season, I guess.
Yeah.
Guys, I would like, and I think that if he plays on a newbie is going to be the lower owned of all these guys. So maybe I would prefer him because these guys are all going to be so popular. I don't know. What do you like? Am I getting too fancy here?
No, I don't think so. First of all, I think Jalen Brunson is the best play on the slate, and I'm not going to budge off of that. He had a 40% usage rate last night. If you get guys like with a 40% usage rate who we're used to seeing in like high 20s, you kind of just have to keep playing them, especially like against Utah. We love to play everybody. And Jalen Brunson actually, even though look, you can say whatever, like he got 49 fantasy points, and yeah, it could have been more, all these things, but like that's still a good game. Like, and you're facing Utah. Both teams on a back-to-back. I just feel like Brunson's going to have all the usage. So the other thing was that DiVincenzo just soaked up every bit of usage that was left over. He had 30% of the usage. Nobody else was above 18, which was Hartenstein, and everybody else is like 10%. So I was curious to see what happened with that Randall, but it's basically what you thought, except for I was maybe a little under on the DiVincenzo taking a million shots. He didn't even make that many of them. He could have ended up with like 60. I like Brunson. So he's my staple. I agree that trying to fade Grimes is probably a good idea. I still think he's probably going to make some of my lineups just because of the lack of value on a 5-game slate. Well, depending on the lack of value on a 5-game slate. I have Josh Hart after DiVincenzo. I have it Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, then Grimes. I still like the off the board ishness of Precious. He's never going to be usage. You're just going to hope for rebounds, blocks, put back. This is a good matchup for it. So all of these guys are in play for me, but that's the order I have them right now. And what I may do is change it all. And just like you said about Anunoby being the one low-owned guy along with Hartenstein, maybe switching over to some Anunoby. It's hard to justify ahead of DiVincenzo. But I think you just, like you said, he played 42 minutes. Anunoby, the problem is that it's a high price tag for a guy who kind of like has to score to get there. But he can also get steals, and it's a lot of loose balls, and a game will play at a faster pace than usual for the, it's up-paced game for the Knicks against Utah. So I'm considering all these guys. I'm probably going to end up with at least 2 Knicks. Probably going to end up maybe around 3. But DiVincenzo, Hart, and Brunson, currently my favorite. Definitely open to the Anunoby idea. I want to wait to see what Utah does. Something tells me they may sit someone on the back-to-back. Again, another team that's fighting for the playoff lives. They did lose badly enough last night where maybe they salvage enough minutes for these guys. But I kind of was interested in doing something on the Utah side, but I really would probably need somebody to be out. As it stands, you have a bunch of really good dark plays, which is what you like on a small slate. Walker Kessler at 4,300 would be a guy you could take a dart on. Keontae George, maybe Chris Dunn won't play as much, as he's older and on the back-to-back. Jordan Clarkson's price has gotten to the point where it's getting a little bit like, okay, I might take a shot there. And then Markkanen are all the guys I'm considering. But right now, nobody who stands out as a priority for Utah. Just going to wait to see after what happens after shoot around in case somebody sits. All right. Yeah, I saw that power today that the Knicks signed Taj Gibson to a 10-day. So we'll see if he can even play, or when that's going to take into effect. So I don't know what's happening with that. We'll revisit that one later on, I guess. Taj Gibson ready to blow up our DFS lives again. All right, Toronto and Chicago.
Yeah, it's a small slate, so you're going to get these values in these teams that you don't usually play. Like I usually don't stack these Chicago games,
Right.
But you're getting some good mid-range value, in this game, and you're getting some cheap stuff too, like Desamnu at 4,800, showing up as a good play. And the regular guys like for Chicago, Vooch, Kobe White, and DeRozan. I'm a little less on Caruso this time, but he's a little lower owned this time than he usually is. So I like that. And then on the Toronto side, just your normal guys like Barnes, Bruce Brown's reasonable today. Schroeder is not usually the guy I get to, but he looks decent. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a stack of 2 teams that with players that are decently priced, I think this is a pretty good game to go to.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. On the Toronto side, I've got I actually am surprised that the projection's so bad on Schroeder. I know Podol's coming back, but Barrett and Quickly both being out, and Schroeder is not looking. I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. So as of right now, I'm assuming this projection on SaberSim is just flawed on Schroeder. I think he should be at least 7 or 8 points higher as a median. So I have it ranked Schroeder, Bruce Brown, Scotty Barnes, Podol in terms of my interest. I wish that no one was going to play Jordan Nwora because I would be very, very happy to take a shot on Jordan Nwora, but I think he's going to have some ownership. He is coming off of a 47 fantasy point game where he played 30 minutes. And then you've got Grady Dick as the 3,600 guy who also you could consider for value. So I definitely think you can get to something from Toronto here. I'm assuming Podol's in as of right now, but if he's out, I think you might have a lot of stuff to do in Toronto, but I have it ranked still like that. And the Nwora Grady Dick thing, along with Gary Trent Jr., I'll have to figure that one out later because I don't know if I want to do that yet. I like Look, look who's projecting like crazy today. Our guy Io Desonmu.
That's what I just said. Yeah, he's like my second highest point per dollar play on the slate.
I know. It feels a little weird, just to be honest, to play him as chalk. Now I know he's cheaper than whatever, and he's been really productive lately. It's a good matchup, but I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I like playing Io because we never had any ownership on him, so it's going to feel weird to play him at like 40% when I don't think it's like an automatic thing for him to get there at all. I like the idea of getting to the other guys, especially if we don't have if LeBron and AD both play, and you don't have as many other spend ups. I like the mid range here, so I would say that my favorites in order would be probably Vooch, Kobe White, then DeRozan, but I literally think you can mix those up, and then Desonmu, because the ownership, I'm trying not to do it, but I have no problem if you ended up stuck there. All right.
I'm gonna say something I guess like kind of dumb, but I think Embiid plays today.
I think he's gonna play today too.
I mean, it's just dumb only because I just have literally no information. But
it's a nationally televised game.
You know what? He whipped out against freaking Golden State. Okay, excuse me, at Denver as usual.
But then he had to sit the next one to make it look like it wasn't just that.
Exactly. And he sat the one where you would think that they could get away with it, right?
Right.
And that didn't work out. So I think he's gonna. And one thing we haven't really identified is a player who's gonna have a 70-point projection. Right? So it'd kind of be nice to have him. And at 12K, you have that. I want to say sticker shock. When you see 12K, you think, well, that's a lot, but I don't know, man. I mean, what are they going to do if he's actually able to play and plays a full set of minutes? I mean, who are they going to guard with? I mean, it's ridiculous. So I'd like to get to him. I'd like him to remain questionable, the whole time. And I would gamble on that. You know what I mean? I listen. If you're wrong, if you leave that spot for Embiid and he ends up sitting, it's going to be rough, because you're going to have to maybe play Curry or something like that. You know what I mean? Like in utility or something you really don't want to do with that, to replace 12K. And there's really nobody else from this game that I'm really getting to. But I don't know. I think it's worth. I think it's worth the gamble and just kind of just leaving him in there and just hope he plays. I don't know. Listen, if he doesn't play, then all those other guys become very relevant again. But I don't know.
He can, just so you know, he can only miss 5 more games and be eligible to win
eligible for the MVP. Yeah, I think he's going to.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's a nationally televised game, and I think he'll smash too.
So actually, you know what? I do have two plays from Golden State. Okay, so Kuminga and Draymond both look very, very reasonable at their price. They don't look particularly low owned. They both look about 30%, but whatever. There's guys you could put in. So yeah, I actually do like both those guys.
Yeah, Draymond and Kuminga look the best. I like Kuminga a little better. I would just say, just be wary. Like Draymond played, I know people are going to see that 53 fantasy points he put up the other day. That was in 2 overtimes.
I didn't even see that. He did that? Oh, wow.
That was 2 overtimes.
46 minutes they had him play.
Yeah, so it's like,
yeah,
don't count on that kind of stuff again, especially as they're configured. It is weird with the Kuminga. I mean, Sabersim especially, but every site, Kuminga's projection is like great. I like Kuminga just fine.
Yeah.
Corey Joseph is starting to play minutes a little bit more, and he's 3K flat, which is the only reason why I mention him. It's pretty gross, but if you played like Embiid and him, let's just, at least if something weird happened, you could do something. Now, maybe you don't want to build that way, because then you could play like Maxey and I don't know, Maxey. If Embiid was out, I'm saying you play Maxey and if Maxey plays and Kuminga instead of Embiid and Corey Joseph. So just throwing it out there, that's a way you can have switchability and play Embiid. It's just a guy who projects the 15 fantasy points, who's 3K, who's definitely going to have at least 14 minutes of run, probably, maybe a little bit more upside on that. But I think that it's just because I wanted to mention just because of the double switching. I think that's the way you go.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the way that I would treat. And if you end up with him, so what? So then you get Embiid's 80 and you get the 10 or 15 from Joseph. but yeah, it's an interesting with that giant break. My guess is we'll probably have an idea a little sooner just because it's a nationally televised game. So I hope he stays questionable because I think even if he's announced in, I don't think he's going to be that popular. I just don't think that people are going to be able to see.
I wonder if Maxey plays.
I think Maxey probably plays too.
Yeah.
My guess. But I mean, looking at the spread. Looking at the spread, you would think neither of them are playing because they should be favored every single time they play Golden State. Golden State's been one of the, I mean, they've just been awful. I don't know. So the fact that they're 3.5-point dogs makes me feel like Vegas thinks one of them is sitting at least. But I don't know. That's a little weird. I know it's a back-to-back for them, but they didn't play last night. The Embiid and Maxey didn't play. So yeah, hopefully we get a little bit of news, just something. But I don't know if it's going to matter much because I don't think Embiid's going to be popular anyway, unless we get a bunch of other value that we don't know about yet. So I did an early build. It was basically projecting that LeBron or AD was out, and it was just like that. But I really don't. I'm starting to question myself on that one and just assume that they're both going to be in. And if that happens, we have a lot of much different slate than I thought I was going to be going. And it's going to be very, very heavy Knicks focused. And I actually think that I think people will spend in the mid range for the guys in Toronto, for D'Angelo Russell and the Lakers, guys like that. And I just don't think people are going to be able to spend up with the way things stand right now. Now there's so many Q tags that things could change, and there's also we haven't seen the morning shoot around results yet. So keep an eye out for all that. As of right now, I still like the idea of getting to a couple Lakers. I think you're probably playing at least 2 Knicks, maybe 3 or 4. DiVincenzo, Hart, and OG and Brunson are my favorites. I decided to throw OG in there because I think that it is an interesting pivot off of the other guys. I like the Toronto guys. I have it ranked Schroeder, Brown, Barnes, Nwora, Podol, Dick. And then I like the idea of getting to Embiid or Maxey and maybe forcing, or especially Embiid, but I do think Maxey would be in play as well. But as of right now, it's just going to be hard to get to them. And it's certainly going to be hard to get to them if you're going to fade Quentin Grimes, especially Embiid, obviously. So, all right. What else do we have? Any sheets? Do you want to do a run real quick, or should we get out of here? We can get out of here.
I just wasn't really. Oh, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. Let's pull it up here. Pull it up here, and so I imagine that, like you said, is it going to be 100%? What's his name? DiVincenzo, you think?
Probably.
I mean, the fact is, he's not going to play another 42 minutes. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Maybe he will.
Knicks make me nervous. Well, I mean, you do have some blowout risk, like just back-to-back at home. And I don't know, I guess actually Utah's been pretty competitive lately, but mostly. So except for last night.
So let's see.
Who else? So you'll get 100% of him. You'll probably end up with like 75% of Grimes, right? And maybe Kuminga's the next one? Or would it be
I'll tell you in 5 seconds.
If it's IO,
it's going to be.
You think so? I think so too. I think you're probably right.
Let's see. We got, wow, look at this. It looks like they're loading, and it's all the DiVincenzo and Desomnu and Vooch. How about that? 76% Vooch.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. Kuminga, Green, Grimes, Kobe. Very little of the spend ups, except for like 35% Anthony Davis. So these Bulls are just kind of showing up right now. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yep, it's going to be a different slate by 6:30 Eastern, I'm pretty sure. But you never know. I mean, we have a lot of back-to-back teams, but there are, it's possible. There's only 5 games. Anything else, Sheets, before we get out of here?
No, we'll be there at 6:30.
All right, good.